So the key here, and what we're really talking about again, what we've been talking about all day, is forgiveness. And what I want to let you know is why you might want to forgive. Admittedly, it feels good to hold on to grudges and blames and resentments sometimes, doesn't it? You can just hang on to those, and you can nurture them, and you can pull them out every once in a while, and you can feel hateful towards somebody that did you wrong. But in the end, it doesn't really accomplish anything. So why? Why would you want to forgive and let go? First off, and I'll share from my own experience, it gave me a completely new trajectory through life. Particularly in my adult years, I found myself limited, really limited by those old beliefs, by those old morals and values. I found myself weighed down by all of that baggage that I was dragging around, all of that resentment, all of the shame, all of the guilt. I would drag out experiences from 15 years ago and feel guilty about them. Oh, dang, why did I do that with Dorothy? Man, that was the stupidest thing. I'd feel shame. And so I found myself wanting to cut my own path through life, but feeling frustrated, constantly frustrated. I'd find myself sometimes laying in bed at night, and those old thoughts of, you're on the wrong path, Cliffy. You're going to go to hell. You know, something's wrong. I'd hear my mom's voice. My mom used to come up to me every once in a while and say, you know, Cliff, I'm really worried about you and the Lord. And I hated that. I resisted that with all my being. And of course, it stuck around. And those thoughts would come back when I was 30, when I was 35, 40 years old. Maybe I really am on the wrong path. Maybe I am going to go to hell. And so the forgiveness allowed me to let all that go and set me on a completely new trajectory. To let go of the guilt and the shame, all of those emotions. To shift those belief systems and those morals and values. To not resist them anymore, but be able to just let them go. One of the things I tried to do over and over was to put my new life on top of that old, the new belief systems on top of the old. And just like with a computer, if you try to install some new software on a computer without removing the old software first, what happens? It gets glitchy, you'll run into hiccups, it may freeze up and not work right. So in order to really create a new life, a new belief system, you've got to be able to let go of the old, remove the old. And for me, that's what forgiveness did. And I was able to define myself in a completely new way. I no longer had any desire to define myself as, I'm not that, but instead, yeah, I am this, and look where I'm going. This is who I'm becoming. I was able to become more self-expressed and open with the forgiveness and letting go of all the guilt and shame. I no longer had to hide everything. I no longer felt like I needed to protect my little secret world from being discovered for fear that people might judge me. And after I began to forgive, for the first time in my life, I really opened up to my mom, my parents. I opened up to my sisters, and now I have a great relationship with my sister. I can share with my sister, who is still part of the church, I can share with her almost anything I want to share and feel good about it. I'm not worried about being judged. It gave me more intimacy, joy, communication, the courage to think and act boldly. And I got to say, I think it's pretty bold to have a vision of changing religion on the planet. It gave me a completely new relationship with the divine, with God. Because for a few years anyway, like so many people, I'd thrown the baby out with the bathwater. When I turned my back on religion, I got rid of God too. And I see that happen a lot. That's another thing. When I was training and working with all those people, I'd hear from people, oh, I have a problem with God. No, I don't believe, or I have a problem with that. Because they'd been somehow hurt by religion and then collapsed the two concepts. Instead of God, religion being separate things, they collapsed them into one. And when they rejected religion, they rejected God. And we all have that longing, as I said. We have that longing for a connection with something bigger. And so when people reject God, and I'll try to fill that hole with something else. And that can lead to all kinds of distractions, or keeping busy, or addictions, or whatever it is. Deepak Chopra says in one of his books, every addiction is just a poor substitute for God. So it allowed me to redefine my relationship with God and to see it in a completely new way and to experience it in a really personal way. It allowed me to be more lighthearted and passionate. This has been another one of my themes over the last several years, is living with a light heart. And now I understand why. That goes right along with forgiveness. And most importantly, it allowed me to be free of the burden of guilt and shame, resentment. And you can have the results too. Like I said earlier, it doesn't have to take 15 years for you.